What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hog Line Podcast. This is episode 29. I am joined by Jack today.
Hello.
Jack's in the building. How you doing?
We're not in the same building, but I'm here.
Yeah, we're joining each other via Skype, and we've got a lot to get into.
So much.
A lot. It's gonna be pretty dense, and we're gonna roll with it. So we got a lot of college basketball to talk today. You know, the tournament is coming to an end. It's the Final Four. We're going to talk. It is the Final Four, yes. We're going to be recapping all of the tournaments so far, getting into the games in the first, second round, and the Sweet 16, highlighting some of the most exciting games, and then we'll be recapping the Elite Eight games, all four of them, and previewing the Final Four. And we've got a few announcements before that. Yeah, Jack, do you want to say some of them? I guess you can. So this is the stuff we talked about on Friday.
Are we going at that right now or the end?
No, we can talk about that right now. We've got a few announcements for everyone. Some changes. So yeah, you can go ahead and highlight some of them, I guess.
So right off the bat, we're gonna try to create a set schedule for recording. First of all, I'm probably going to be on every episode now, as a co-host. And we're going to have a set schedule every Monday. This is just for now. We're going to do every Monday. And then throughout the week, what we decided, I'm going to be giving some kind of in-depth analysis similar to what I did back in the summer. Trae Young versus Steph Curry, that kind of thing. Just of anything. Either Tuesday or Wednesday. And then Mitchell's going to release an IGTV video Thursday, Friday. And that's what else? New logo and new name, really, actually.
Yeah, no. I'm just going to say, add a few points about the schedule.
Yeah, go for it.
So for now, the episodes are going to be on Mondays. We just figured that'd be the best day schedule-wise for us. And it gives our audience, whoever listens to this, a whole entire week to listen to it. So we're pretty much going to be sticking to one episode per week, and like we said, on Mondays. And then throughout the week, we're going to be trying to be giving everyone some more content on the Instagram page. Like Jack just said, he's going to be writing a kind of like an in-depth Instagram post on either Tuesday or Wednesday. So kind of like a mini article about whatever he wants to talk about. And then a few days after that, like later in the week on Thursday or Friday, I'm going to be releasing like a short IGTV video, like maybe 4 or 5 minutes about whatever I want to talk about, probably something different. So just giving our fans some more content. So that's kind of where we decided on. Yep. And like Jack started to get into, we designed a new logo. Not that the old logo was bad, but it was kind of just I threw something together last summer, and so it's kind of it's the logo of it's on the Instagram page now. It's the profile picture, so you can go look at that. And what was the other thing you said? The logo and new name. We just eliminated the word "the" in the title of the podcast and made it one word.
Yeah, I thought that'd be good.
Yeah, easier to search, because I feel like when most people search the name, they just make it one word. So we just figured to embrace that and make it easier to find.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Exactly. So there's some of and we're all along with that. We're just gonna try to expand this as much as we can.
Yes.
Gonna try to reach out to some people to subscribe and hopefully just try to expand the audience some. So
yeah,
good. A lot of good stuff coming, especially as the summer comes in a month or so. So
definitely have more time as well because the semester's done, right? Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in on that. Sorry, hey, I'm here. But also, as the summer rolls around, we're gonna be getting a SoundCloud account and actually paying for it, which will not only make it easier for us to put audio onto the iTunes account, but it'll also just be on SoundCloud then. So look forward to that. Bye.
And we also, Joey just reminded me since he rudely jumped in there, he's changing, I don't know, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but some RSS, he's going to make it not a video, I don't know, but
it's messed up right now on iTunes, but when summer rolls around, it'll be better. It'll be fixed.
All right, yeah.
So sounds like
you can get out of here now, Joey.
Oh, I'll leave.
It sounds like Joey's cooking dinner. There sounds like
that was mad loud.
Watching the movie. Don't talk about it.
Okay.
All right. So that was Joey. He was here if you didn't notice, but he's yeah. Unfortunately, he spoke up. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll do it again when more stuff comes up.
All right, get out of here. We don't. This is enough. This is more than what your contract allots for.
All right. So anyway, that was the announcements. Some things we decided on a few days ago to improve the show. So exciting stuff for that. But yeah, let's get into the main things we have to talk about today, and it's going to be a lot of college basketball. You know, I don't remember when the last episode was. I think you and Joey did it, and that was before.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and we didn't do any college basketball really.
Yeah, it was before the tournament started, so a lot's happened. Obviously, it's been the field went from 68 teams to down to 4 teams now. So a lot's happened. We're just going to highlight some of the games that kind of caught our attention in the early rounds. So I guess we're going to start off with the New Mexico State Auburn game. Auburn defeated New Mexico State 78-77, and this Final Four run that they went on almost didn't really happen. Kind of got squashed right in the beginning. So. What do you remember? I know it happened like a week and a half ago, Jack, but what do you remember about the game? What stood out about that game to you?
Right off the bat, you said a week and a half. I'm like, this felt like a month ago, just how much basketball went on. But this game was one of the first games, right? I think it was. I just remember it being early on in the day on Thursday.
It was definitely in the afternoon, so it wasn't
right. Yeah.
Night.
I mean, it previewed It was a good start to the tournament. It was, I picked New Mexico State in this game, so I was disappointed. At the end, I don't know who's on New Mexico State, but he drove down. They were down by 2. He drives down, and he had a clear shot at a bucket, but he kicked it out. And I guess he was going for the win. I was like, I was on my feet, and all of us were on our feet, and he was about to score, and then. Kicked it out. Auburn kind of caught a break there, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's all about surviving and advancing, and that's what Auburn did. And obviously, they capitalized it because they went on to beat Kansas, North Carolina, and Kentucky.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like you said, I don't really know what that guy was thinking. Maybe he felt the presence of like someone like bearing down on him. He thought it was going to get blocked or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Decided to kick it out, but from the perspective of the viewer, it looked like a pretty clear-cut. I mean, it was somewhat contested, but it looks like a shot he should have attempted. So they survived there. I mean, it's just crazy how it's kind of like I'm kind of comparing it to when UConn played St. Joe's a few years ago and they went on that run to win it all.
Yeah.
That first game, they were a 7 seed. That first game went to overtime with St. Joe's. So it's kind of crazy how these runs almost couldn't have happened if one thing goes differently.
Right.
But Jared Harper, who we'll talk about later on in this episode as we talk about some of the other Auburn games, he did really well. He led Auburn with 17 points, 4 assists. He's that if you guys anyone watches an Auburn game, he's that really small guy who's their point guard.
Yeah.
And he's very quick and gets banged around a lot. It looks like he's always diving on the floor and stuff, and it looks like he's always going to leave the game with an injury, but he's pretty tough, and he's a fun player to watch, so he kind of led them in this games, and yeah, that was Auburn. They survived that one. Another game, probably one of them, I don't know, it was very fun in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people enjoyed it as well, was Murray State versus Marquette.
Yep.
Murray State defeated Marquette by 19 by a score of 83-64. And this was, a highly anticipated matchup because of the two star players who are, top 10, top 15 players in college basketball. It's John Moran and Marcus Howard. And I don't know. I think this matchup lived up to every one of my expectations.
Yeah, the matchup itself, it wasn't a close game at all, but it was so exciting to watch. Big job all out. Obviously one of the most hyped up players now, at least after this game in the tournament. I'm sure you've heard he went for a triple-double, 4th in tournament history, something like that. Not many tournament history.
Right.
Yeah, 4th. First since Draymond. It's a big job. Went for 17 points, 16 assists. Wow, that's nuts, and 11 boards. He's obviously I think he's gonna be a star in the NBA. I'm really looking forward to watching him play throughout his career. But the game itself really, Murray State in particular, obviously, set the tone early, and they just jumped out. What was the final score? Yeah, I mean, finished with a 19-point lead. That's impressive. And Marcus Howard from Marquette, he had a good game. Went for 26, 2 and 2. He's obviously great. He was smaller than I realized. Is he only 5'11"?
No, I think he's a little bigger than that.
Okay.
But no, I know. Yeah, Marcus Howard did do very well, and he didn't shoot very well percentage wise. He went 9 for 27.
Yeah, 33%.
Again,
yeah.
If you're Marquette, and they really lacked other offensive options, and you kind of have to live with Marcus Howard shooting that many times if you want to spark any of offensive momentum. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad that his college career, I believe he's a senior. I think that was his last game. And it's kind of sad that, such a good career will come to an end in that way. But I don't know. It was cool to see these two great players. And just Ja Morant's, obviously everyone falls in love with his scoring ability and his, how good of a 3-point shooter he is and stuff. But his vision is just what I think is the most, eye-popping part of his game, how he can just find the open man so easily. It looks effortless.
Oh yeah, and I'm similar to going off that. He just makes everyone he plays with good. Like without him, Murray State wouldn't nearly be what they were, and that's what you need out of a basketball player. Like, and I'm not just gonna say anyone, but anyone can just be a scorer and like be a freak athletically. But he's just got such a great basketball mind and great court vision. It's cool.
Yeah, like they have. I don't know that guy's name, but they have. I don't know if you remember. They had that really like kind of fat center.
Yeah.
He really doesn't look like he'd be that good, but he looked
Cowarts.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. Yeah. But like Morant just made him look so good because he made him. He just kind of like passed them open in a way, and like he had so many easy looks at the basket. So that's just a testament to how good Morant makes his teammates look. So and he's more than likely going to go to the NBA, and it was a great 2 years for him in college. He really took a step. I mean, I think he averaged 12 points and 6, rebounds his freshman year, and then he obviously improved. He doubled his points per game, and I think he had 10 assists, and he took a great step from freshman to sophomore year. One final game we want to talk about in the first round is Wofford versus Seton Hall.
Right.
Wofford beat Seton Hall 84-68, but it was really closer than the final score indicated. It was pretty close, honestly, throughout, and even up until like the last 3 or 4 minutes. But Wofford kind of just pulled away at the end, and the score went up with all the fouls. Seton Hall had to commit to potentially get the ball back, but great game. Miles Powell kind of drove was in the driver's seat, obviously, for Seton Hall. They kind of lived and died by him, and finished with 27. And they really didn't have much going on other than him. And obviously, he scored just under half of their points, pretty much.
Yeah.
My man, obviously, if anyone knows me, I was talking about Wofford the whole entire tournament, and I would say I am disappointed because I definitely had high expectations for them, but they played really well against Seton Hall, and they proved why they're a good team. And with their second round loss to Kentucky, even though, they played well in that game. But anyway, Fletcher Magee in the first round matchup against Seton Hall finished with 24, hit 7 threes, and he was just automatic. Magee was. Yeah,
Magee, I similar to probably many people, I haven't watched Wofford this season. So this game was the first I ever saw them. And of course, I've heard you talk about them. So naturally, I picked Seton Hall to win just because I thought it'd be fun to go against. And I like Seton Hall, best jerseys in college basketball.
I thought you said the best team in New Jersey in college basketball, which is
that
true.
Too. Yeah.
You're gonna, insult me, but whatever.
Yeah.
We'll be back next year. Go ahead.
I do. Trying to take my biases out of it. I do think the Seton Hall team was a really good team. It stinks that they had to face such a hot team and a very well coached and good team who was just shot the lights out at a Wofford. Obviously Fletcher Magee went nuts, 7 of 12 from behind the arc, 24. And yeah, I mean, it's a shame to see Seton Hall have such an early exit. I thought I mean, in another scenario, like not in that corner of the bracket, I think they could have made a little bit of a run. But hey, that's March, and I mean, it makes. I mean, the selection committee, they put these matchups for a reason. I mean, it was a good game. Like same thing with like Murray State and Marquette. That they want to see the matchup between Ja and Marcus Howard. That talent like that, like they know what they're doing. They pick good games. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I definitely think Seton Hall was a good team. I mean, they're hot. They made a run to the Big East championship prior to the tournament, so they also had some type of momentum going. But it's just hard because Wofford had that. I believe they had the longest active winning streak going into the tournament. They won 20 in a row prior to the tournament. So it's just, even if they are they're in the Southern Conference, even if you come from a small conference like that, it's just hard to beat anyone that won 20 in a row, regardless of who they played.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of our thoughts on round one, some of the games and matchups that stuck out to us. Moving on to round two. It was the first game of the second round. Maryland LSU. Yep. LSU wins in a nail biter, 69-67. I had to take a shower at the end of this, but I took my phone into the shower and watch it because that's just how much of a dedicated fan I am.
Why don't you just not shower, or just like whatever?
Yeah, but Tremont Waters with a game-winning layup. He honestly, I think he did travel. If you remember that play, it looks like he did take 3 steps, but you know. These guys are just moving so fast, so it's kind of, you can't put all the blame on the refs because I know it's their job to look out for stuff like that, but these guys are moving so fast. So if it's like 2.5, 3-ish steps, it could be hard to call, and especially at a crucial moment in the game too when he's taking that game winner. But anyway, I mean, LSU had a very well balanced scoring, well distributed. It's Skylar Mays 16, Waters with 12, Naz Reid 13. And I don't know. It was a good game down to the wire. So what do you think about it?
I figured. Oh, I picked LSU. They're my lead 8. I feel like I like Maryland a lot. But just the school in general. But I feel like they kind of disappoint in the tournament, or just I don't know. But I feel like if I'm not mistaken, I think this is a young team, of underclassmen, and I don't expect any to exit for the draft. So this could be a good team going forward in years to come, next year and whatnot. But this is a great game. And you kind of touched on everything. Anything I could say, but just looking at the scoring spread, there was no one that even like stood out. It was, I guess, I kind of like when the spread is I mean, sorry, the stats are spread scoring wise. It kind of pays tribute to the coaching, I feel like. But yeah, great game. And it was a great start to the second round. It was the first game. So
it is interesting that you mentioned about the evenly distributed scoring, and it attests to the coaching, and that LSU's coach got suspended right before this tournament. So I mean, I don't know the name of their interim head coach, but obviously that guy's walking into a tough situation with the scandal around LSU. Also, like you mentioned, Maryland's underclassmen. One of their best players, Jalen Smith. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. He's big. He's got goggles.
Right. Yeah.
Maryland's big man, but he was. I believe when Kieran and I were previewing college basketball, we definitely talked about him for a little bit, and he, I believe he was like a top. I'm gonna butcher this, but I'm sure he was like a top 40. He was high in the ESPN top 100. So
like class of 2018.
No, yeah. He is a freshman.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if he will enter or not, but if he does stay, it just will be even better for Maryland basketball. So we'll see about that, and if they can build, hats off to them. Maryland definitely did surprise me, though. I didn't think they were going to even win a game.
Yeah. Right. Like I'm not. I feel like they kind of disappoint. Like
they really do.
Maybe. Yeah.
So just the fact that they won a game and even played a good team in LSU down to the wire, it's nothing to hang your head on. So they could look up for next year.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Another game that I have written down here is the Duke UCF game. This was very shocking. Didn't see this coming at all. that Dawkins guy on UCF finished with 32, and I think he only missed like 4 or 5 shots, so he shot the lights out. Taco Fall, 15-6, and yeah, this was crazy. I can't believe that shot didn't go in at the end.
Oh man, yeah, I was working on a project during this, but I had it on my phone. I only tuned in for like the last 5 minutes. I caught the beginning and like the end, but yeah, I was so mad. I mean, I thought it would have been like the most hyped up college basketball team I've ever witnessed in my life. Having a second round exit to UCF, that just would have been. I love stories like that, and who doesn't? Going through the stats for Duke, Zion really carried them throughout this game. He finished with 32. RJ 16, Reddish 13, Trey Jones 11, and then that was pretty much it for their scoring. Just got this point. One point at the end of the game when Duke was down by 3. It was under 30 seconds. Duke was down by 3. As soon as Zion gets the ball from outside like behind the 3-point line, and he goes to drive, and like in my head, as soon as he did that, like as soon as Zion takes a one step inside the arc, just get out of the way, let him score, and don't give him the chance of an opportunity for an and one. And what do? They foul him, and he makes the acrobatic, I can say the word, layup, and he gets the and one, and then
he missed them. You're talking about the end, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the end. Yeah, right. But I was just so frustrated because like instinctively I just as soon as he stepped in the arc, just like get out of the way. But then they fouled him. I just think I was just so mad I had to vent about that.
Yeah, I saw a lot of not necessarily analysts, but people on Instagram were kind of ripping Zion for missing the foul shot, which obviously he's not a very good free throw shooter by any means.
He sucks from the line.
Yeah, he's 56% since returning from the injury. I heard that today in today's game. But I mean, you can't. He had 32 and 11. You can't rip him too much. They wouldn't be anywhere close to in that situation without him. So I understand you have to make your shots down the stretch, but again, if a guy has 32 and 11, you can't really be too critical on him. So Duke survived, and they survived, which another one we'll get to in a second here. They survived.
Quick thing, what do you think about Taco? NBA?
I don't know. He's still he's obviously effective because he's just sometimes there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
But he's still awkward looking.
Yeah, he is awkward with the ball, I'll admit, but he's just so fun to watch. I love watching him play.
So fun. Yeah.
I would love to see him in the NBA one day, but who knows? Maybe he'll have to play overseas a little bit. Yeah, I'm hopeful for him.
Yeah, no, obviously it'd be cool, but I don't necessarily know how likely that's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, one other quick game we want to touch on in the second round is Tennessee versus Iowa. I know you didn't really mention this one, but I wanted to talk about it for a second here, just because.
I don't think I was able to watch this one.
Yeah, I mean Tennessee. Oh, it was on the Sunday, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you were going back to Pitt, so I don't know if you were able to watch this one or not. But Tennessee was up 25 at one point, and it went to overtime, and they barely squeaked it out, and they ended up advancing. But
yeah,
it was kind of scary. I mean, for people who had Tennessee winning it all, I mean, obviously they didn't win it all, and they got bounced in the next round. But just the fact that they almost blew a 25-point lead is just not very good at all. But 19 each for Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield. The seniors did really well, and they fought through it. I think Grant Williams fouled out, if I'm not mistaken. So they fought on, even despite the comeback efforts of Iowa. But yeah, Iowa, honestly, they surprised me because I didn't think they were a very good team. They didn't finish the regular season very well. I don't think they did very well in the Big Ten tournament, and I just wasn't very high on Iowa at all. And I know they surprised me, so I wanted to give a shout out to them, even though they beat Rutgers on that lucky corner.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of why I was salty and wasn't very high on them in a way, but I don't know, they did very well, so I wanted to talk about them a little bit. But it was a good game, and I wanted to mention that as well. We'll move on to the Sweet 16. I've got 2 games written down here. Jumping right back into Tennessee, we can talk about what I think was the game of the tournament, and honestly, until the next round when Purdue played. But Purdue, Tennessee.
Oh my goodness, this game was nuts.
Yeah. We have obviously Carson Edwards going for 29, which 29 for Carson Edwards kind of seems like a down game.
Yeah.
And this Ryan Klein guy, which I didn't really know much about, goes 7-10 from 3.
He was going off.
Yeah.
In like the last 3 minutes, there must have been like 6 lead changes. It was just going such back and forth, like shot for shot. I think it's you're right. Until the Purdue's next game, this was a game in the tournament, and I mean Carson Edwards, is he what year is he? Junior. What's rumors about him draft or what?
I don't know. I always honestly, obviously he went on this amazing run, which is, like we haven't, like Buddy Hield had a similar run a few years ago, and obviously Steph Curry however many years back, but I think he surpassed them for most games in the first 4 games of the tournament, most points. I mean, crazy. But I always thought he was too small, but he is obviously undersized in a way, but he's very stocky, very muscular.
Yeah.
And he is small, but we've seen.
Oh, is he 5'11"?
Yeah, he's like barely 6 foot, if so.
Okay, yeah, I must have been thinking of him when I say Marcus Howard or whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's very small, but we've seen guys that, it's not impossible to succeed at that height, and he's like kind of stocky and not stocky, but like muscular. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's built. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the announcers were kind of comparing him to Derrick Rose in a way, and I kind of like that.
That's a good comparison. Yeah.
Comparison. But this game was crazy, like we said. Game of the tournament until I think the next game, Purdue UVA. But and one last thing about that Ryan Klein guy, he does not look like he's good at basketball. I think I was spot on with this comparison. I kind of compared him to Joe Ingles.
Yeah, that's good.
A guy that you look at and he looks like he's not athletic at all. And Ryan Klein, I don't even necessarily know if he is, but he just got that shooter's touch. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a great game. So many of these games went to overtime, so it's kind of cool. Actually, there's something I want to say. So remind me about. Obviously I didn't say what it was, but there's something I want to get to at the end of this. But we'll move on now. Duke, Virginia Tech. We just talked about Duke, but this game was honestly had a similar feel to the UCF game.
Yeah.
Duke pulls up the victory, 75-73. Yeah.
I'm so happy Duke lost today, just because they could, especially when it was getting close. I'm like, Duke, don't tell me Duke's gonna catch another like extremely lucky break again, like 3 games in a row. But yeah, I mean they. Oh man, it's just like that guy is probably whoever, I don't remember who that was on Tech who didn't get that put back.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was Outlaw or Ahmed Hill.
Yeah.
And it was just awful.
I feel bad for the guy.
The play at the end when Virginia Tech was down 2, and they lobbed it in, and that guy had a clear open. I mean, he had a jump for it, but it's a play you obviously should have made, and he wasn't close. He wasn't close. That was
like slipped out of his hand. Oh man.
No, I feel like he kind of tried to tap it in, which he didn't need to do.
I don't know. Oh man.
I think there was like 0.9 on the clock, which he didn't need to tip it in, but I feel like it was just really dumb and kind of frustrating, but whatever. I mean, I actually really like this Virginia Tech team. I mean, we got to see them play in person. When I went to the Pitt Virginia Tech game, and I really liked them there. Yeah. One of the players I really like is Virginia Tech's big men, Kerry Blackshear. He had 18 and 16 in the game versus Duke. And he's a guy who can defend. He actually can shoot from the outside. So he very he can do a lot of things for a guy of his size. But he kind of shined for them. And Duke's freshmen kind of all did really well. Trey Jones played exceptionally well. He had 22 and 8 assists.
Yeah. They were without Reddish this game.
Yeah. No, I mean, Trey Jones stepped up and provided that extra scoring that they needed, and it was just enough. They barely survived. And honestly, if you follow these Duke games, they're getting more and more vulnerable as the games go on, and obviously it resulted in a loss today, but you can kind of tell that they weren't that dominant team that they were throughout the season, because they just lost they won 2 very close games in a row prior to their loss today.
Yeah, just because, I mean, they're full of freshmen. They just don't, I mean, I'm not going to just blame it all, but I mean, lack of experience in tournament time, like, proves that it's a thing. And, like,
it's true.
They don't, yeah, because past years, I mean, Duke's full of one and dones, like, year after year. But guess who's always been there every year the past 4 years? My favorite player in college basketball, Mr. Grayson Allen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they don't have that senior leadership or that veteran upperclassman leadership that they've had the past few years. Which, I mean, it's as talented as this Duke team is. It's kind of taken a toll in March, which they've had 3 close games in a row, which no one would have expected of such a talented team like this.
No, yeah. Just a quick word on that. If you look at the teams that are in the Final Four right now, Michigan State, full of juniors. They've got McQuaid, who's a senior. Cassius Winston's a junior. Nick Ward's a junior. So full of upperclassmen. Texas Tech, their best player is a sophomore. I know it's not an upperclassman, but he's still Jared Cole. He's been there a year. So
yeah, and they were in the tournament last year. So little experiences, whatever, but.
Exactly. Yeah. And you got Virginia with Kyle Guy as a junior. Jerome, I believe, is a junior. DeAndre Hunter's a redshirt sophomore, I believe.
How do you say that guy's name on UVA? The blonde guy.
I don't know how to say his. I don't know his first name, but his last name's Diakite.
Diakite, yeah.
Yeah, but exactly. Yeah. And what was the last name? Oh, Auburn. They've got 2 senior guards. So
yeah.
If you look at all these teams, so. They're not full of freshmen, so it kind of makes you wonder if these one and done people can really get it done, because Duke's tried it and they haven't. I mean, Duke's always seems to be the favorite, but if you really look at it, like, what have they won in the past, like, in recent memory?
2015, yeah.
I mean, it's been a while, is what I'm trying to say. So,
well, I mean, yeah, okay, right.
Relatively, I we can't expect them to win every year, but.
Well, no. When you say what have they done or what have they won? But I mean, they won the ACC and they're winning the conference. But I mean, really, at the end of the season, conference championships aren't really what people look at. I mean, they kind of just forget about them once a tournament happens. If you win your conference and have like a second round exit, then it's a failed season. So I mean, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So. Yeah. We'll move on to, we're going to talk about all 4 of the Elite 8 games briefly here. First one was Texas Tech versus Gonzaga. Texas Tech pulled it out 75-69. And this was honestly, all the other games were, I'm saying like this was kind of like a blowout, but like all the other games were even closer than this one, and this one even felt close. So
yeah,
I'm very pleased with all of the Elite games all around, because they were all very close. But this was a good one. What are your initial thoughts on this one?
This game, I mean, Texas Tech, they not really a team that people like. Obviously not a highly picked team out of anyone, but they just play great defense, and Jarrett Culver really shined in this tournament. Go late in this game, there was that. I mean, the announcer said it was the play of the tournament. That big block by what's his name? Oh, his name's Tariq Owens.
Yeah.
The refs did miss that. He definitely did step up. So no, he blocked the inbounds clean. It was a great block, and that was fine. But he landed out of bounds, and he clearly landed out of bounds, and then he jumps up to save it, and back to a guy on Tech. Refs clearly missed that. But then. The next play, a guy on Gonzaga it was a kickball. There's another missed call there, but it kind of went both ways on missed calls. I just thought I'd highlight that.
Again, no, you were right. If anyone remembers that play, they showed a replay, and it was clear that Owens was out of bounds there. But like you said,
that's not reviewable. I think they said so. That means they couldn't even fix it.
Yeah, no, but again, if you're looking for it to be made up for, it kind of was on that no call kickball and
Yeah.
the few possessions later. Yeah, I think the main thing I want to take away from this one is just Texas Tech's defense throughout the entire tournament. They've been playing so well. They've been, really limiting their opponents to very low field goal percentages throughout the whole tournament. I mean, they held Michigan, who I had winning the whole thing, to under 50, and that's nuts. And I think they said, the announcer said on this one, Gonzaga's been held to under 70 3 times this year, and this was one of those games. Gonzaga's a team that averaged 89 points a game the whole entire year.
Absolutely nuts. I mean, they don't play in the best conference, so that's part of the reason, I'm sure. But yeah.
No, exactly.
Great defense. Yeah.
Exactly. They've been playing great. Brandon Clark, who had that monster game in the second round, or maybe Sweet 16, he had 5 turnovers, I believe, in the first half of this game. So Texas Tech was really just forcing turnovers and forcing them to take bad shots. So we'll see if that can continue versus Michigan State. But yeah, I mean, Gonzaga kind of sucks for them. They didn't really get to where they wanted to. But they had a good year. It's not they had a disappointing year by any means. So congratulations.
What do you think about Hachimura?
What about him? His
draft wise, what do you see for him going forward?
He's definitely declaring, I believe.
Yeah.
I think he'll go in the top 10. He'll definitely, no doubt, be a lottery pick. Very explosive.
Yeah, definitely.
There's many times throughout watching him play where he just runs right by his defender. Like there was one play, I don't remember exactly what game it was or when it was exactly, but he kind of hesitated at midcourt, kind of got his defender to slow down and ran right by him and had an easy layup. So very explosive, and I really like him. I've liked him all year, so it's not like something I've just kind of jumped on the bandwagon. I really liked his game throughout the entire season. Yeah,
I guess I'm kind of the opposite. For some reason, I just found his game. I think he was playing a lot of like the 5. He was playing a lot of center, and he doesn't have the size to be a center. He's like 6'9", I think.
Yeah, if he can play at the wing, that's great.
Yeah. I think that it's maybe just me, but in my opinion, he either improved a lot throughout the season or they just play him differently. And I think he can be a great stretch 4, and like he's athletic, and he can have a good NBA career.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to the game that we are officially going to be calling the game of the
Well, for now, we'll see what happens in the
it's not over yet.
Going forward, but yeah.
Purdue played UVA, and UVA escapes and barely wins in overtime, 80-75.
Absolutely nuts.
I mean, we could talk about this game. We could have probably made a whole episode in this game. But Edwards, 42. That just sounds crazy to say out loud, but he had 42 points, 10 for 19 from 3, 14 of 25 overall. And I think the crazy part is that no one else on Purdue scored over 10.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know what else.
The next highest scorer was 7.
Exactly. Like I said, that's Charles Barkley said. The first thing he said was the fact that no one on Purdue scored over 10 just kind of, it sucks that no one was able to either step up, especially after the game that Ryan Klein guy had in the previous game where he had 27. It's a shame it didn't continue for them. But Edwards could not miss. It was just crazy. And it's kind of I'm kind of bummed that we're not going to be able to watch him anymore. Unless potentially next year if he returns. But for this year, it's kind of a shame we won't be able to watch him play anymore.
What you said about Carson Edwards' his shooting, he shot 52% from the field, which that's good just in general, but like a guy at such a high usage rate such as him, like that's just so impressive. Shooting 14 of 25, that's just a great stat line. And 10 of 19 from 3.
Yeah.
That's too.
Yeah, and just to highlight some of Virginia's stats, Kyle Guy with 25 and 10. He exited with an injury earlier, I think in the end of the first half or the beginning of the second half, I believe. But he was able to return and did very well upon his return. Ty Jerome with 24 and 7 assists. He did really well. And that Diakite guy with the blonde hair we just mentioned, obviously had the game-tying bucket at the end, which we'll talk about here in a second, but he had finished with 14 and 7 as well. I think that'll be the last thing we talk about this one is the backcourt potential violation at the end of the regulation in this one?
Yeah. As soon as that happened, I called you, and I mean I thought it was pretty clear that Diakite, when it was off the rebound, this was sent it into overtime. It was a UVA foul shot, missed, and it went back in like the middle of the paint. Diakite jumped up and hit it backwards, and it went back court. I thought that was pretty clear, but I should read into it if any headline or any whatever, if they're looking into that or not. If it was, I don't know. They don't do like I think it's kind of dumb. The NBA does like the last 2 minute report or something, whatever it's called. But I don't know if that's gonna be that has been a topic of conversation today. I haven't looked into it. I just thought it was so obvious. I was just like shocked that I don't think the announcers mentioned it, which was weird. But
I'm just unclear of whether or not possession of the ball fully constitutes whether or not it's backcourt or not. I don't know, because he didn't grab it, tipped it back. So I don't know.
He definitely didn't grab it. I get maybe it must be possession.
It has to be, because I feel like more.
It is possession. If you tip the ball back, it's what's it called?
Yeah. Mr. Rules expert Joey. Okay, yeah.
No one invited you.
It has to be that, because otherwise people would definitely be making more of a fuss about it than just.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. But either way, that shouldn't take away from UVA. I love this story, how they obviously had an embarrassing exit last year in the first round to UMBC. And just to touch on Kyle Guy, what you said we were talking about yesterday, how he received death threats after they lost last year, right?
Yeah.
And you could just see in his post game interview I was watching it after the game, the reporter just asked him. She mentioned how he came back from injury, at some point in the game, whatever, and you could just tell like this is the raw emotion he had, like just how happy he was, like just it's such a cool story from where they were to what they're at now, how to turn around, and what I got emotional during it. I thought I was gonna cry, but I remember after UVA lost last year. What's their coach's name? I can't remember.
Cody Bennett.
Yeah, he just his post game interview last year. I don't know, just like really motivational, and I picked UVA to go far. I had them in my Final Four originally, then I switched, but yeah, I think UVA is a good story this year, and I would be pretty happy for them if they won it all. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. After what they went through last year, it's kind of cool to see them, what they've accomplished. Moving on to today's games. Today, Auburn played Kentucky. Another overtime matchup. Was not disappointed in the slightest in this one. Auburn's, I believe they're both seniors, Jared Harper and Bryce Brown. But they both showed up, and they killed it. They had 50 points combined between the two of them. Brown with 24, Harper with 26. And they're very explosive. They're honestly two of the fastest guards I've ever seen.
Yeah, oh my goodness. This Jared Harper, when he took it end to end one time, and it was I was just blown away. He's so explosive, and he's 5. I'm dropping a lot of 5'11" bombs this episode. He's 5'11", correct? He looks so small out there.
He's very he is definitely under 6.
Okay, yeah. And he reminds me of our security guard Lawrence. So we just kept calling him Lawrence. It's just funny. There's another reason to root for him. But yeah, what you said, these two guards, they're fun to watch. It was a great game all around.
No, exactly. It really was. I think I mentioned this earlier, but I think the thing that stands out to me the most is Jared Harper, how tough he is. Just because he's so small, he really gets thrown around there a lot. But every time he is on the floor, he always gets up and he always, brings it even harder the next possession. So I don't know, I admired that, and I think he's just an amazing, outstanding player.
Another thing about Auburn, it's not really much insight. I thought it would just be kind of cool to any of these teams in the Final Four, I'd be happy. I wouldn't mind having one all, except for Michigan State. But just Auburn kind of barely squeaking out of the first round. They won the SEC. I'm not mistaken, right?
Was it? I'm drawing a blank. I don't know if it was Kentucky or them.
Okay, well, we'll
They
look
played
at
each
that.
other in the ACC championship.
Yeah.
No. It was Auburn versus Tennessee.
Yeah, and
Auburn won.
Auburn won. Right. Okay. That's what I thought. So they win their conference, and then they barely escape, which I thought a game they should have lost in the first round, and then they come out the next game and just absolutely go on a tear, and and they crush was it Kansas State or Kansas?
Kansas.
They crushed Kansas, who historically has been a powerhouse. It ended up being only a 20-point or maybe less than 20-point win, but I mean they had control of the whole game. They shot the lights out. And seeing a team having a lot of ups and downs throughout March, it just kind of epitomizes the NCAA tournament. That's why they call it March Madness. So that'd be cool to see. Plus, I love seeing Charles Barkley go nuts, so no reason to root for Auburn.
Exactly, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to the last Elite Eight game. Sorry, we didn't talk much about Kentucky, but Washington, I'll just say quickly, 28 points, 13 boards, did really well, and I don't know, I don't feel bad for Kentucky because I don't really like them. That's the only thing I'll say. Last game, Michigan State Duke. Honestly, like these games just keep getting better and better. This game was, I don't really think it was more than a 6-point lead at any point in the game for either of these two teams.
Yeah, going back and forth, you're right.
Very evenly matched. You could really tell. Cassius Winston, obviously the leader of the Michigan State team, 20 points, 10 assists, only 1 turnover. I think a great point of Winston's game is the fact that one word that comes to mind when I hear the name Cassius Winston is how smart he is. Doesn't turn the ball over much at all, and he just takes great shots. Really knows when to get his teammates involved and when to take the shot himself. So I just feel very safe with him with the ball if I'm a Michigan State fan because he really doesn't commit many turnovers. He's just very smart. That's what comes to mind.
Yeah, I agree definitely. I don't really have much to add here. I mean, it was a very good game, and I was I was watching the Pirates and the Penguins during it too. But Zion, he I keep calling him bust the whole game, but he did have a good game as he always does. I already mentioned stats, but Zion 24, RJ 21.
No. Zion, he definitely struggled in the first half. He missed some shots he could have made, and he did have 4 or 5 turnovers in the first half, which is obviously less than ideal, but he really came back in the second half. He finished with 14 boards along with his 24. So I don't know. It was just it's just so odd that they're not in the Final Four. Like every bracket in the Final Four, it's just so crazy. Kind of weird to comprehend.
But even just going back to Zion, like even if he makes mistakes in the what you said in the first half, or in the beginning, if he struggles, just he can struggle as much as you want, but like he's just such a freak athletically. Like his mistakes are just gonna like kind of subside eventually. Like his athleticism is gonna take over. Like specifically just down the stretch, he's had this. I don't remember who attended the 3 for Michigan State, but he just like came out of nowhere and just like barely tipped the ball like to get a block. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about, but
yeah, I do.
Yeah, and it just like another like he had another like monster block, and like he had to duck to get his head out of the way of the backboard. Like he's just all over the place and just a freak athletically, which that makes his floor of as far as NBA wise go, like it's just his floor is very high. Like as many mistakes he's gonna make, it just doesn't matter. Like it does matter, but like not as much at the end of the day.
No, I think it's a very good analysis. He's certainly, I mean, people always say he's got boomer bust potential, but just on his athleticism alone,
exactly.
It's hard to ignore that it's going to be hard to imagine that he won't do very well. I mean, unless injuries aside, that can derail anyone, but if you take injuries out of the equation, he's gonna kill it. All right, so we're kind of short on time, but we will preview the Final Four games briefly here. First game is the Auburn UVA game, I believe. What are your thoughts on this one? What do you think the key points to this one is, and what do you think?
I mean, just watching them today, Harper's just gonna have to go out as he has been, I'm sure, throughout the tournament. And then for UVA, I think they just play so well as a team, and like it's not a UVA isn't really a program that has these one and done guys, and I honestly I can't even. What are some guys in the NBA currently out of UVA? Justin Anderson.
Malcolm Brogdon.
Okay, like it's just like not many stars that are coming out of UVA, and those are the I feel like I mean that's kind of not even true what I'm about to say, but I feel like these programs that have guys like that, I mean teams like that don't have like elite NBA talent, they're just kind of like well-rounded, and they just do well. I mean Duke kind of disproves that theory because they've been so successful. Like UNC, like they don't have many one and dones, and there's just typically a very well-rounded team, and those are the teams in college basketball that do well. And I think that this UVA team just kind of fits that script, which I like watching them play.
Yeah, obviously, I think anything can happen at this point because these teams just prove that literally anything can happen just by how close these games are, and just the fact that teams like Auburn and Texas Tech can get to the Final Four. But I really think that UVA will win this game. Like I'm pretty confident for some reason because I just feel like at a certain point, Harper and Brown, and the Auburn's big men, they do contribute some, but it's the offense, runs through those two guys.
Right.
And I just think that UVA's defense is just too potent, and I just think that they will be able to shut them down. I don't know. I just have a feeling that UVA is going to win this game handedly. I don't know why.
Right. I agree with that. And just going off like storylines, which I'm a big believer that's a big factor in March. Auburn, they've lived up to their even if they lose, it's still they've exceeded expectations tremendously this year. And if UVA loses, they still had a good season. Obviously, they're gonna be remembered as like a bounce back year. But I know that after last year, they really want. They really have something to prove in this game, and I think they're really hungry. I mean, obviously both teams are really hungry, and that's like a bad argument, but just they really got something to prove. They really want to turn around from at their worst last year, and they want to go out on top this year.
I think going off of your theory of who has the biggest storyline and who has the most revenge in a way, but I think one thing that we didn't really talk about at all, which could be a huge storyline, is Auburn's Okeke tore his ACL.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I know. I completely forgot about it. I have it written down right here on my paper, but I can't believe we didn't mention that earlier. But I think that they're really going to rally around that, and that could potentially, that brotherhood that they formed on that team. They really just want to win it for him because he can't be out there with them. So that's something to mention and think about in terms of this game. But honestly, if you just look at the teams, I just think UVA is too well-rounded, and their defense I think is just going to be too potent.
Definitely.
So that's the first game. That's at 6:10, I believe it's scheduled to start. So
6:09. Yeah.
6:09. The next game, the final game, is Texas Tech versus Michigan State. I honestly these are two very good teams, obviously, because they made it this far. But for some reason, I just wouldn't ever picture this to be the matchup.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
just with Duke and Gonzaga and Michigan all on that side of the bracket. I just thought at least one of those teams would be in the Final Four. But that's just anything can happen. And I don't know. I think. The first thing I have written down is something I just said earlier. Just Cassius is so smart. I think I trust him more than anyone in this Final Four to do well and to not make dumb decisions. Because it honestly comes down to who makes the least amount of mistakes, and I think he's not going to make very many at all.
Yeah, so you picking Michigan State in this game?
Yeah, I think I would. If I had to, I really think it will be UVA Michigan State.
I think I'm going to take Tech.
What? Sorry to cut you off. What do I know? My bracket was the worst bracket in the entire pool, so I don't know. Why is anyone listening to me and anything?
Yeah. I'm going to take Texas Tech. I just feel like Michigan State, they're obviously a big name every year, and they kind of disappoint, I feel like, quite often, which, again, going back on my last argument, that would give them something to prove this year. I think Texas Tech. I'm just like kind of arguing like the opposite. Like Texas Tech exceeded their expectations already, but I feel like it's gonna like kind of ride that wave. I don't know. Like I don't know. I really like Jarrett Culver. He's great athletically. And this team in general just plays great defense, and defense wins championships. That's why I just got a feeling about Texas Tech. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not much. Yeah, not much like statistical evidence off that. I just got more of a feeling pick.
No, I just know for a fact that they hold their opponents to a significant less field goal percentage in this tournament. They've been playing so well.
Right.
So it's gonna be fun to watch. I can't wait for it. And then the national championship on Monday. After that, it'll probably be. I hope these Final Four games and the national championship live up, because we really have had just flat out great games. They've all been so close.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like there hasn't been it's been relative, especially in the first two rounds. There wasn't as many upsets. But I think the fact that these games have just been so good have just, canceled that out. We all live for like that 14 beating a 3 or a 15 beating a 2, and we didn't get that this time. But just the fact that these games have been so close have just made this tournament, very special in its own right.
Yeah, and just one more thing to point out. You mentioned this or yesterday maybe, I don't remember, but I think it's really cool how there's 4 conferences represented in this Final Four, and we're kind of getting like a representation of all different kinds of basketball, and I don't know, I just found that really cool.
Yeah,
especially
I know.
Like teams like Auburn and Texas Tech, like no, that's just like the crazy in March, how there's like no one's picking them, no one's thinking about them. I mean, UVA, Michigan State, sure, some people had them in their Final Four, not many, but I just, it's just cool to see. And
Exactly. We're definitely going to get a nice taste of what each conference has to offer. So that's another cool thing that you're right, I noticed, I think it was yesterday. So, yeah, that was a lot. I think we're going to wrap it up here.
We will.
Yeah, it was fun. So that was episode 29 of the Hog Line Podcast. Thank you all for listening if you made it all the way through. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts. It definitely helps a lot. So
spread the word too. That's what we mentioned it in the beginning, but we're really trying to expand, and through word of mouth is I think the most effective way. So I mean, just spread the word.
So be sure to follow us on Instagram. Not at the Hog Line Podcast. It is now at Hog Line Podcast. So follow that. Tell anyone you know to follow it. Follow me on Instagram at Mitchell Mannas. Follow Jack on Instagram at _Jack.Mannas_. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's all we got. Joey.
No, don't follow Joey.
You don't have to follow Joey. Maybe he can drop it in the description if he wants. He has free will to do that. But
no, he doesn't.
Anyway, that's all we have for today, and have a good one, everyone.
Yep.